All right, and welcome to the Recovery Revolution live show, and happy Thursday to everybody. My name is Carl, one of the co-hosts of Recovery Revolution Live, and we hope that all of you are having a wonderful evening this evening, and we're so glad that you're here to join us to talk about recovery, to talk about mental health, and our guest tonight is Dr. Marty Lajoie. Man, I really like saying that last name, man. It's so cool. So we have Brett Morris with us today. We have Mrs. Ashley Grimes, as always. Say hello, Ashley. And Brett is waving, although Brett's not on the screen. There he is. A little bit out of focus there, buddy. And Brett, we had technical difficulties coming into the show. There was an echo, and apparently it was my fault. I didn't have my echo cancellation on. So we're glad that all of you are here today. And like I said, it's Thursday, man. We're almost over halfway through the week. So I hope everybody's having a good week today. All right, Brett, how you doing over there, bud?
I am doing all right. I'm trying to get my camera in focus right now. So
Brett's trying to get in focus.
On screen.
Oh, okay, good. I won't put you back on screen. All right, guys. Well, man, what a week I've had this week. Brett is getting into the Fear of the Beard moment. You guys can't see him there, but Ashley, how are you doing today?
I'm all right. It's been a crazy day.
Yeah?
Yeah, it started off rough, but then it was better, and now it's good. It was a busy day, but not bad.
That's awesome. I had a really good day today. I got to get back into my counseling gig, and we had to do 2 intakes today, and the people came in really high, so that was a lot of fun. And then we also were able to facilitate some groups. And Tanya, hello, Tanya. How are you doing today? So, a really good day. And now I've gotten into the whole clinical supervision side. And so now I'm writing a lot of stuff for the program and getting back into the group side and facilitating groups and getting into the process groups with the guys was really awesome today. So, just really grateful to have recovery, man, and to be sober. That's for sure. Brett, how you doing over there, bud?
I am doing all right, man. It has been a little bit of a stressful week this week. So I feel like I just slid in here just in time to be on the stream. So glad I was able to get a shower in before the stream because I was feeling a little icky. So glad
you shower for us, dude?
Oh, I did.
That's so nice. Deodorant. Wow. I really appreciate that, man. I knew there was something different about today. I knew we were going to have a great day. Ashley, we should be thankful. Brett showered for us.
I can't smell him. He's in Texas and I'm in Florida. So I'm grateful for his wife that he smells nice.
Yes, we're grateful for his wife and his daughter. So that's a good one. I love that. All right, guys. So, man, we got a really good show lined up for everybody today. And yes, Matthew, grateful to be sober. That is for sure. We're so glad that all of you are joining us. And we hope that all of you are doing well today. We're all celebrating one more day of recovery, as well as our guest today. And just a really good day. We had rain over here. It was pouring for a little while, and then it stopped. How is the weather out there for you guys?
Normal.
Okay, normal.
Not too hot, not too cold.
Over there. Well,
you're pretty weather in Florida.
Yeah, I'm jealous, man. Ashley, how far away from the beach do you live?
On the beach. I mean, across the street. I live on the intercoastal, so I'm on beach side. You have to go over a bridge to get to where I live.
Oh, okay. So you're kind of like go over a bridge, and then is it like another little inlet that is separated by 2 bodies of water on either side, or?
There's water on both sides. And then there's the intercoastal, which is the beach water and then river water come together. So it's it's not an island because there's, goes continual for a really long time and eventually. But if you look it up, Ponce Inlet is where it ends, and then Daytona Beach. So you never came to Daytona Beach in the 90s for spring break? Come on.
No, I didn't. I was a good boy in the 90s. I was a band nerd. I had all them band practices to do. I didn't even start drinking or drugging until I was in my 20s.
Brett, do you believe that he didn't do spring break?
I don't believe it. He has a mischievous look in his eyes.
Wow. So
Yeah,
no, honestly,
he'd be
no, I
the
didn't.
party, like the guy, spring
The
break.
guy?
Yeah.
Well, I'm the guy now, but back then I wasn't the guy. I didn't even know who I was back then. Like, I was in high school. I was so just sheltered from everything, and our neighbors were Mormon, and so like there wasn't really a lot going on in the neighborhood that was exciting, and just a very sheltered life because I kind of grew up a little bit in the church there and then outside of the church, and so you know just a lot of stuff that they kind of protected me from the real world outside, which I found out after I got out of the military what the real world was like, and that's when the real world became fun. So, all right, guys. Well, everybody, we have a really wonderful guest. He's a friend of mine, and I'm really happy that he's on the show today. His name is Dr. Marty Lajoie, and he goes by the name Doc Marty. And so we're going to be bringing Doc Marty in today, and we're going to be talking about his new venture, which is holistic recovery, and his website. And he also has a free book out there that helps people understand what holistic recovery is. And there we go. We have the graphics there. Thank you, Brett. And we're going to be talking to him about what holistic recovery is and how it can help people with addiction, and how it can help people maybe even if you don't have an addiction. Holistic recovery is great for all sorts of types of addiction, let alone a drug or alcohol addiction. So we're going to be bringing him in, and we have a surprise giveaway today. And we're not telling you what it is. It's going to be a surprise when you get it at your doorstep. And so Brett is going to be putting up our hashtag there. He's going to come up with something creative for us to have a hashtag for the contest. Brett, I'm so happy that you're doing that for us today. Thank you.
Sober surprise.
A sober surprise. I like that. We should do that once a month where we have a sober surprise, and they're not going to know what they get.
And then our sponsors will have to kick it up a notch because the surprise gift will be so exciting.
It will be. It will be so very exciting. So, and we have a lot of people on the stream already. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining. We really appreciate you. And let's bring in, you guys, you want to bring in Doc Marty and let him join us this evening?
Let's do it.
Bring him on. Let's go.
All right. I'll do it, Brett.
Yeah, I'm trying to set up the giveaway. Sorry, I was in another
window. Okay. Yeah, no worries. I got you. All right, guys. And this is Dr. Marty Lajoie, a clinical psychologist, and he and I worked together at a facility over in Calistoga, and that's how I got to know him. And so we're going to talk to him a little bit about his story and how he kind of got into doing what he does. And we're going to talk about holistic recovery, and we're going to talk about recovery in general. But Marty, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, you guys. What an honor.
Absolutely. It's really an honor to have you on, and you and I had such a fun time on the episode that I recorded with you for the Drunken Worm podcast. Mm-hmm. And when I started doing this podcast, I was like, man, Marty would be a great guest to have on the show. And we're going to be talking a little bit about what we have coming up in the future of the show with all of us together, working together. And we have a new segment coming up, so that's going to be exciting. But Marty, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself so that our listeners are able to hear a little bit about what you do as a professional, and then we can kind of get into your story about how you came into recovery, man.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah, I am a clinical psychologist. I currently work, I do individual therapy and groups at a treatment center, mostly focusing on EMDR therapy and trauma-based therapies. I also run dual diagnosis classes and groups and integrative mental health groups at a couple treatment facilities right now. Also have the side project, the burgeoning holistic recovery, which is an educational source for basically anything that's shown to help from all angles, help people help complement people's recovery, help supercharge people's recovery. And so far there, it's just kind of getting started. We have, if you sign up your email, have like a free ebook, which is kind of like a 25 page infographic sort of deal. Also working on a book right now. So feeling excited about that. So that's kind of what I'm into, what I'm doing in the career. You know, this career is new for me. It's past 5 years really. And I'm just grateful to have come full circle and be working with people who are in recovery, and you know, it feels like I'm really passionate about that, and I just like share my joy, you know, in that way. You know, the classes and groups I do, I really like to have fun with it. I you know, come from a kind of entertainment background, coordinating electronic dance music events and performing as a DJ, and I've been in the music and the creative arts and performing arts my whole life, really doing as a theater kid all my life. So I really love to bring that spirit into the groups and classes I teach. So that's some of the light that comes through when I'm doing the classes, either at treatment centers or if I get to do some online classes eventually through holistic recovery. So that's kind of my jam. I'm happy to be in this spot in my career and in my life and in recovery.
Yeah, that's really amazing. And you know, I want to thank you personally, and then you know, this can extend out to others as well. We've gotten a lot of comments already talking about we need people that are passionate about helping, and we can definitely tell that you're very passionate about helping. And I've gotten to work with you, and so I know how passionate you are when it comes to bringing a different style to the groups, bringing a new approach towards treating addiction and trauma therapy, and working with the clients that you've gotten to work with, and firsthand what I've been able to see you do. I mean, it's really amazing, man. And, you know, I want to congratulate you on all your success right now, because you're really taking this thing by the horns. And in 5 years, you're starting to create a brand for yourself, the holisticrecovery.com, and all of these different aspects, man, which is really amazing. So, Marty, tell us what it was like for you before you got into doing all of this. What was life like for you, even before maybe you got into doing recovery? Why choose this path?
The recovery path.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, life for a while in my early adulthood was really like chasing my creative dreams, and I got to a point where it was really working for me, and really you know, I was the doors were opening, and there was a lot of things that I really believed in and loved about what I was doing. And I'd kind of had like, you know, drugs and alcohol as an old friend for a lot of my life, and even, you know, even my teen years. So it really kind of supported me for a while. It worked, you know, it was like a coping skill for life, and, you know, kind of mixed in really well with the creative and performing arts in many ways, not all the ways, of course. Um, and then it just seemed at one point, it just kind of just seamlessly transitioned into something different. Just got away from me, and then it became something dark. And so, you know, this thing that felt like that it was really a compliment to my life, you know, um, turned on me, and once that happened, it never went back. And then it just became something that like disconnected me from life, and disconnected me from my dreams, and you know, created a lot of loss and dysfunction and, you know, misery. Um, and that just kept getting worse. Like no matter how I tried to, you know, balance the pieces again, um, you know, addiction just, you know, when it was at its prime, it just sucked. It was just hell. Um, so really that was what motivated me. I mean, there's some rabbit hole stories in there, but some of the moments of clarity I had was just like, without getting into gory graphic details, was just these realizations like this was not what my life was supposed to be. This is
Yeah.
not why I'm here in this life and on this planet, to be in this crazy hamster wheel that's this like Tasmanian devil whirlwind sucking everything into it, with everything I touch. And so that's what really inspired me. It took me some years of trying different things and taking the tour of the rehabs from the inside, and um, and then finally like committing myself to recovery as the only way. Like the only way out is through. And kind of once I did that, then things started to change. You
Mhm.
know, I had to mourn that old career as well, which meant a lot to me, especially before addiction had taken hold. I mentioned that, it was a source of great purpose and joy and community
Mhm.
and creative expression and all this stuff. And for me, I had to really um, let go of that dream, at least in that arena, and let go of that scene. And once I was able to kind of do that, and really put recovery as the priority, um, as the it became the golden goose from which all other gifts in life came, and things have just been just growing and becoming amazing and dynamic and lifey ever since.
Yeah, I love that you call it the golden goose because to me that's like the gift that keeps on giving,
Yep.
and um I can say for my own personal stuff, like I just hit my 4-year mark back in December, and now I'm moving into my 4th year of recovery, and it just seems like once that December thing hit, man, like the gifts are just keep on coming and coming and coming. And there was a lot of work that had to be done to before that happened. I've gone through my steps one time and I'm on my second round of steps now. But like the gifts really just keep coming, and it's so amazing to me that all of the things that I've heard happen to people are now happening to me, and
Mm,
I'm not even asking for it, which is like for me the most fulfilling part.
that's awesome, Carl. I'm so happy for you, and I just really honor and respect that the journey and the
Yeah.
gifts and the growth that you've underwent.
Well, I appreciate that, man. So let's talk a little bit about what the journey felt like for you initially in the beginning. What did it feel like for you to kind of jump into this journey of recovery?
Yeah, the first year or two or several was raw. It was like feeling again, like all the feelings rushing in,
Mhm.
being vulnerable to life, um, being
Sorry,
vulnerable. That's all right.
that was
Uh,
Sponsy calling, and I just have him listed as BS in my phone. Wow.
um,
Okay.
so it was like coming back to life, which was really vulnerable and precious. It was getting to know myself, pieces
Mhm.
of myself that I hadn't known. I had been kind of um, had had substances in my systems for so many years, and so it was really um, learning to connect with people and life, even though that was kind of new and scary in a new way. I
Yeah.
also recall my first year as a really special time. So
Mhm.
even though it was hard sometimes, even though there was parts of me that were torn and screaming to go back the old way, this like
Yeah.
internal automatic thing that's like years of being one way will do. Um, it was still really really beautiful to be like coming back to be a part of humanity again.
Mhm.
Um, so to speak. So I really, I remember like at first I didn't really have much. It's like
Mhm.
I was, you know, walking or biking or busing places. I was like doing community service for general assistance and food stamps. It's like kind of starting from scratch. And but I remember, despite that, just I just there was something that felt very um, serene and tuned into life, and you know it's like a whole new thing. So um, and I loved that I was ready to really do all the things that everyone recommended,
Yes.
and that there was people and services and there for me, you
Hmm.
know. And what I found was that every time I had a fear to do anything, any little step in life, there's
Hmm.
some fear around that, or any being vulnerable with other people, there's some fear around that. And what I found that was every time I took a risk, despite my fear, used the spiritual principle of courage, that that y'all wouldn't let me down, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Um, and that was so that helped me build trust and faith, in recovery, in people, in life, in myself.
Hmm. Yeah. That fear, man. That is like JR says right there. Fear is a dream killer.
Hmm.
And my sponsor always tells me, do not let fear hold you back from your potential. And it's I really love carrying that with me, because it reminds me that I can do anything that I've put my mind to. It's only the limitations that I place on myself that are going to get in the way of my own success. And I
Hmm.
think that that's something that a lot of people can carry with them. Do you feel that that applied to you also back then, where you were kind of setting yourself up and saying, "Oh, well, I've tried that before, but I don't know if I could do that," or maybe I was scared to do it.
Oh yeah, I've always had the old, automatic thoughts going on from life, like insecurities, feeling like I'm not good enough, feeling like things aren't going to be okay. All those things have been there. And it seems like one of the main teachings of recovery for me was that um, I could still show up and do these things that were so you know life vital and vitalizing and affirming, despite those old tapes. So it's like I can't get rid of the automatic ones, but what I can do is bring a new voice to the table. And so it would be like, no, you can't do it, or they're just going to reject you,
Mhm.
or you're going to fail. And I'd be like, okay, like I see you. This is like mindfulness. Like I see you, and I'm going to bring another voice to the table, which is like, actually, you're okay. And remember that last time you took a risk and they like it paid tenfold, um, you know, and your fear wasn't right. Like this time might be just like that. So it's just like, yes, I have the old insecurities, but you enter new
Mhm.
ones, and start to make those new neural pathways,
Yeah.
alongside the old ones, while the old ones are still like well worn.
Yeah. How do the neural pathways affect us as humans when we have to face a decision and we have fear around it? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, there's
Carl, we talk about this all the time.
I
But
know.
he's going to tell us the expert way, but
Yeah.
well, one perspective. Um, yeah, I mean, like the system can get activated. There's a fear
Right.
system, it's like our fight or flight system. And so once
Mhm.
that fear is activated, then we're our body's our brain is a well trained from millennia of evolution, well
Mhm.
trained to protect us from danger.
Yeah.
So if we get into that fear response, then our system is like, it's like, I can do this. I can protect you, even when protection isn't necessary. So
Mhm.
that's one thing that can happen, is we can get into that like fight,
Mhm.
flight, or freeze thing, when we're not actually facing down a saber-toothed tiger. Um, and it's impossible to face down saber-toothed tigers because they don't exist anymore. But another thing that can happen is, just that like you were asking about the neurons or the neurotransmitters. It's like, um, if we keep feeding the fear, then the old paths that are well worn will just they'll become stronger. And so I like to think of our brain as it's plastic, it's trainable. Plastic meaning it can like eventually change its shape to whatever we're doing, and it follows what we practice. And it might not do it right away when we start practicing something. It kind of grows with us at the speed of life, right? Which can sometimes be slow. Um, but it will change, and it will eventually follow what we practice enough. And so that's why, the old patterns will be there, but if we start to like do new things despite our fears, that like make these new grooves, and we get this new feedback when we do these fears, and we're not rejected, or we actually can succeed or get through it, or it wasn't as scary as our mind thought, that forms these new pathways. And the beautiful thing is then, it's physically forming these new systems surrounding our new practices. And so a lot of the things that I do and like teach about in holistic recovery are these practices that we can basically do to train our brain to fall. It's like, well, I have this puppy part of my brain. It's like the mammalian part of the brain. And it's like, what do you want me to do? I'll do it, and I'll do it well, and I'll set up an entire system around it. But you just got to show me what you want me to do. And so you practice these things, even if you don't yet believe them, even if it's faking it till you make it, even if you feel fear around them, you practice them and get this feedback. And eventually puppy brain is like, okay, well, that's what we're doing now. That's what we're doing now. Okay, I'm gonna grow all around that, and then one day we wake up and we're suddenly graced with some thoughts that we'd never had before. Like, hey, I can do this. I didn't even have to force feed myself that. I'm just like, hey, I can do this. This isn't that scary, actually. Well, that's because we fed that the right fuel for it to grow into that, and then eventually it does it naturally, organically.
Yeah. And that's really awesome. And I love how malleable our brain is to change and adapt. And it's the same thing that happens inside of our addiction too, because now we're blocking neural pathways, and we're blocking receptors and transmitters and all these things that we talked about. And Ashley, you are right. We talked about this last week, because we talked about the power of Narcan, and how Narcan opens the receptors so that we can now have the pathways reopen. But when we talk about our addiction, a lot of times these pathways are going to be taken up by either a substance or something. And so that's why it's hard for people when they're in an addictive state or coming out of an addictive state to feel like they can make these connections, to feel like there's something missing. There's a piece of the puzzle missing, because I used to be really fluent at doing this, and now it's taking me a while to try to figure out a good fluent way to do something, be it writing, or maybe remembering to do things, or a process type of path that we have to do. So the brain is so amazing, because we can repair the brain in a lot of circumstances, and sometimes we can't repair the brain, but a lot of times our brain has the ability to regenerate and to repair itself. So, Marty, when we talk about holistic recovery and we talk about regular recovery, what is the big difference between a holistic recovery approach and maybe like a 12-step or an evidence-based approach?
Yeah. So first, I want to say holistic recovery, it's not mutually exclusive. It's meant to be inclusive, and really celebrating diversity. Like it's like scanning the world from our from evidence-based therapeutic approaches to integrative health approaches to the wisdom of traditional grassroots social support style recovery. It's like drawing like what is the compendium of things that help us, that so that we have is like the tools to make our own like customized recovery. And so it's not in competition at all, but what makes it unique, I guess is what you're asking, is Well, one of the areas that it really shines in is looking at integrative practices, like integrative mental health practices, integrative health practices. Um, so, if I'm looking at mind, body, heart, spirit, and we're wanting to balance all those things or nourish all those things, and then the sciencey way would be biopsychosocial spiritual or biopsychosocial existential. um, then there's these things that we can practice to empower and nourish those areas. So we look at things like in the body dimension, we look at things like, taking care of our body, security and safety, nourishment, movement, things like that. In the realm of the heart, the social piece, we're looking at things like communication skills, healthy boundaries, support communities, these things that we can really leverage the strength and the power of the social thing, which is, it's a part of who we are. Us humans, we are social beings. There's the spirit side, or existential, if you want to call it that. And so draw from positive psychology and the science of happiness, where there's all these techniques that are validated to that we can practice, that are validated to show we can increase some of these things we associate with joy and hope and optimism and gratitude and things like that. So we don't have to feel like we're victims of circumstances being graced by these things, but that there's practices we can do to bring them about more and carve those new neural pathways. Also in the spirit camp, we might throw in mindfulness strategies and meditation. Lots of good science around that for a great many things. And then moving on up to the mind part, the psycho part of biopsychosocial, are things like specialized services, therapy, stress management, sleep hygiene, these ways that we can really take care of our mind, that are really relevant, especially for our kind, for people vulnerable to substance use disorder and related mental health challenges. Stress management, for instance, it's been seen to be like the number one contributor to relapse, and it's life on life's terms. The stress is going to be there, and so many of us used as like a major coping tool for stress management, or a coping skill for life. And so um, we stop using, and we still have the needs to cope. And so there's so many beautiful stress management tools, most of them that are fun, and most of them that we can customize, such as like raunchy laughter. That's like something that I was like, I really saw in recovery culture that I appreciated. It was just like raunchy humor and laughter. It's like that's never gotten old, and it's good medicine.
Right.
It's good medicine. And that's just one of many things. So I kind of just took us through the whirlwind piece of holistic recovery, but those are kind of some of the areas that we look at that make us unique. And it's all meant to complement people's unique individual recovery journey they're already on. I want to draw from like all the I'm a big nerd, like I love researching and seeing what's the latest things that help. And so I want to draw from like psychology and integrative health and recovery wisdom and evidence-based treatments, and like just give us the tools so that we can create our own recovery tapestry that's like that, where we can feel empowered, not just to survive the sickness and get well, but to really like use recovery as a medium to thrive in our life, to live our best life. And I've seen that's totally possible, like for a great many people.
Yeah, there's definitely the whole like JR said, that mind, body, and spirit that we have, that we need to nurture and we need to be aware of. And that brings me back to the idea of balance in our lives, and how well are we balancing all of the different aspects that we have going on.
Yep.
And it really seems to me like, a holistic recovery approach is now taking a lot of the core things that we learn within a recovery program, be it a 12-step program or whatever your recovery program is. And now we can even go further into this and explore the aspects even deeper. Would that be kind of an accurate statement to make, Marty?
Yeah, absolutely. Like if we want to use, like in 12 step, they say we practice these principles in all our affairs,
Mm-hmm.
and absolutely. It's like addiction was a holistically dominating thing. It's a very niche thing, but it spread its tentacles into our whole life, right? Into
Mm-hmm.
our relationships, into our social standing, into our bodily health, our mental health, our spirit health, losing things we used to love to do with our life. And so recovery can be the same way. It's a holistic deal. And so when we can, nourish and honor the parts, then the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. you know and so, yeah, absolutely, it's I'd say it works really well for people who want to kind of like level up and supercharge their foundational recovery that they already have. um, you know
And I think what you're saying, there's a lot of, things that people should pay attention to. SAMHSA talks about dimensions of recovery.
hmm
Um, and they have four, health, home, purpose, and community through a holistic approach.
hmm
The three stages of recovery: abstinence, repair, and growth, which, they moved away from the abstinence part. But I mean, the growth, I mean, you can't grow if you don't change the way you think, or you don't change your coping mechanism. So
yeah,
I think it's a part of recovery that a lot of people don't pay attention to.
yeah, yeah, thanks for that.
And then I wanted to ask you, I know this is going to a different topic completely, but
Sure. Yeah.
you had talked about, trauma and EMDR. People might not be aware of what that is and what it's used for. Do you want to explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I also want to just give a little intro of its relevancy for um, you know s- addiction recovery or substance use disorder. That there's been quite a bit of buzz in recent years, that for many and not everyone links um, adverse experiences in life, adverse childhood experiences or life experiences, um, some of which may be trauma, but doesn't even need to qualify for PTSD, that links adverse experiences with, the development of, addiction disorders. So what we find is that, you know, we could do these top down approaches, learn new coping skills, stabilize, get out of the mess for enough time, learn how to take care of ourselves. A lot of the holistic recovery practices are like that. They're these ways of self-care we can integrate into our life to set it up. And then there's this bottom up stuff that is, healing some of the deeper wounds that may be subconsciously driving our addiction in the first place. We have this for many of us, right? And so EMDR therapy is one way to do that. So I've recently trained in EMDR therapy and brain spotting. Both are pretty wild. It's really cool to see in action, on both ends of it, as the client or trainee, and as a therapist. Um, but it stands for, and I just want to like say, like, I have to be careful when I'm on platforms to not like put myself out as an expert in an area that I'm not an expert in. So I've been trained in EMDR. That's the extent of it. I'm not a trainer or like a master or whatever that looks like. But my understanding, so I'll say it like that, is that EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And it was, again, in my understanding, was one of the original trauma therapies. and but didn't catch. But it took some years for it to be studied and be considered what is now an evidence-based, one of the prime evidence-based treatments for trauma and PTSD, but like a great many other things as well. And so, what I find is that using it for people in recovery, some people have PTSD and some people just have adverse experiences that are kind of linked to the constellation of why they use. And so by using this technology, sometimes we can activate the body's and the psychological system's natural capacity to heal. Like sometimes there's just some stuff that gets lodged, and there's some I'm like really paraphrasing here, but there's some like psychological, like talk therapy, massage, or technologies we can do to help dislodge it. But it's really the person's internal. We have pretty like brilliant systems, so it's really the person's own system that does the healing. We're just helping to kind of like massage and dislodge these like psychic wounds, and it's definitely evidence based. Like it's shown to help. I've seen it do things that surprised me. It's got some weird, some kooky weird technologies to it, like what they call bilateral stimulation, which is like looking back and forth at a light or a finger, or doing tactile or sounds back and forth, to kind of get the brain into this position where it's a little more ready to kind of like reprocess things in a new way, to kind of process out some of what we've been holding on to, and create like new connections of stuff, of resilience and stuff that strengthens. And it's a way to process in some of the things that we want as well. So that's kind of the nutshell of my experience and my knowledge of EMDR, and why it's relevant for many of our people.
You mentioned one technique that I was not familiar with. You said brain spotting, and I wasn't really sure what that was. I'm familiar with train spotting, but what is brain spotting?
Yeah, I trained in that more recently too, and I feel like I am less like knowledgeable about the details to really speak as much about it, because I've been using it less since it's newer in training for me. But it is also a technology that has been developed since EMDR, and it seems to like almost be from the lineage of it, in the kind of the same realm, but uses a little bit of different technologies to do something, what I understand to be some similar things. But instead of the bilateral stimulation, sometimes it's focusing on a spot, and then allowing things to process through with the kind of the holding space and the prompts from the therapist. So it's to the more or less to the same ends, which is helping us to process and heal some old wounds that have been stuck, and to help us process in some stuff that we want to strengthen, internal resourcing, new beliefs, new kind of new resiliencies, new strengths.
Yeah, that's
I think
really...
it's so
Go ahead, Ashley.
I was going to say, I think it's so important because, EMDR is huge in the trauma field. So, and, people with substance use disorder, I haven't met one that doesn't have any trauma. Have you? I mean, they might not admit it, but maybe not before the substance use disorder, but there's definitely trauma after. So it's a great therapy for disorders that are hard to talk about and situations that are hard to talk about, PTSD, anxiety. So, and it's got great results. So it's a cool area.
Yeah. Doc Marty, is there a different levels of severity when it comes to different traumas that we might be talking about? Like Ashley talked about, maybe the trauma might not be as severe as maybe another trauma, or are they all treated as like the same severity?
Yeah, I mean, trauma is it's a cultural word now, so it has different meanings. In the kind of mental health diagnostic realm, eh, it originally. Well, I don't know if this originally came here, but it's typically used with post-traumatic stress disorder or
Mhm.
complex post-traumatic stress disorder, or things in that realm, like those stressor-related disorders.
Mhm.
Um, and so I like the terminology adverse experiences or adverse childhood experiences because they don't have to qualify as what we would consider PTSD.
Mhm.
Um, but we're all kind of talking about the same things, just different levels of them. And
Yeah.
so when they've done these big studies that linked adverse childhood experiences to substance use disorders, like a great many people who have
Mhm.
one have the other. And even though they don't need to fit for like your traditional classic trauma, like I saw someone die and that
Mhm.
stuck with me,
Yeah.
or I was like, had a thought I was going to die. It doesn't have to fit that bill for it to
Mhm.
still be really impactful in our lives. We could, especially when I'm doing EMDR, we could have someone who has, their target memory might be that time that their caregiver said that really, really hurtful thing to them, right? It's not a life or death situation, but for them, it was a, a seminal moment in cascading, you know, ways that they relate to life
Mhm.
and building things around that thing, or it could be a group of a lot of different, you know, hard experiences that we just didn't we just didn't process out. It's like animals, they get into these tiffs and they're in fight or flight mode, and then they're done with it, and then they're done. They're like just go about their
Mhm.
way. I see that with my dogs all the time. If they
Yeah.
get a little bit too hyphy, it can get scary, and they use their big voices. But
Yeah.
then once they're done, they're just cool again.
Yeah.
Us, for whatever reason, sometimes we have these really impactful experiences in life, and they don't just process through. Like we store them and we protect that. We like something inside of us
Mhm.
protects it, and then looks out in the future for the wisdom of like our survival stuff. It's like there's
Yeah.
something scanning in the future for something like that, so that we don't get hurt again, um, even when it doesn't serve us anymore to
Mhm.
protect ourselves in that way. So sometimes we have to dig deep under our conscious knowledge of the things, and kind of let some of those go, like clean out the wounds, or pass the psychic, emotional gallstones.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's why I'm such a big fan of recovery yoga too, because our body
yeah,
holds these stresses, and sometimes we don't even know that we're holding on the stresses. But like, there's been some great research about yoga and stretching the muscles and releasing that tension.
yes, I love that. I love that. Yeah,
What
body stuff is like exactly like so much of this is, you know, uh, especially the trauma and the adverse experiences are stored. They're stored in the body.
Mhm.
And so I really appreciate what you said about that.
Can somebody explain to me what the difference between recovery yoga is versus regular yoga?
Well, one, you're trying to create like I mean, there's different trainers, there's different like beliefs based on. So I mean, I can't
Mhm.
speak as like an
Yeah.
expert in the field because I'm not a yoga instructor at all.
Mhm.
But you're trying to, the definition of recovery is return to a state of wellness or to your best self, pretty much as a summary. So recovery, you're trying to like heal, and where regular yoga is more like a maintenance thing.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, I like that. I'm going to
That's
have
just
to
my
try
understanding.
some recovery yoga. I wonder if they have different poses like that are more designed to release rather than to kind of maintain. You know, maybe there's different ways that they go about doing that. We should have a recovery yoga episode.
She Recovers
Yeah.
has yoga instructors for
That would be
She
awesome.
Recovers yoga.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had a yoga guy on my podcast a while back. I'm trying to
I had
remember his name.
I had a yoga gal on my podcast that Marty knows. Marty, think of one person that we would both know that does yoga.
I'm not sure. Jen?
Come on.
No.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I think it's cool, you know, talking about the ACEs and stuff, like going back that way. I think it's, you know, it's great that you're referencing that, because most people don't know what they are and how, you know, the more you have, the higher your chance of certain adverse experiences as an adult or adverse outcomes. And they can be as simple as divorce, you know, a death of a parent.
Yep.
It can be as complicated as
Oh.
a death, seeing a death. You know, there's a whole list of them, and is it 3 or more or 4 or more that, you know, the chances are significantly increased for, you know, substance use disorder, and a lot of other disorders as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yoga would be fun. I want to do yoga now.
Yeah, so I found his Instagram, the guy that I had on my show. He does recovery yoga. He does virtual classes, and I think you
Ooh.
can do the first one for free if I'm not mistaken. His handle on Instagram is _yoga_beast. If anyone's interested. In
Oh,
that.
okay. All right.
He's a
You
cool
want to
guy.
throw that up there, Brett?
Aaron Paregis. Yeah, let me type it up
Okay.
there and I'll put it on the screen.
And buddy, your volume sounds a little bit low today. Just FYI.
How about now? Is it better?
Oh, that is so much better. Yes.
It's probably because I wasn't really talking that loud. I feel like when I talk too loud, I yell.
It's okay. You can yell at me. I have a limiter on my
I don't
mixer,
like to yell.
so it'll bring it back down to normal indoor voices. So, Marty, tell us a little bit about your ebook and what is it designed to do for people when they download it?
Yeah, the ebook is really just a kind of like pretty glossy infographic style overview of holistic recovery and kind of the areas we look at. So it's designed to give you a taste and just like open your curiosity into some of these areas where any one of them it can be you know, a rabbit hole treasure trove of practices. It mirrors some of the classes that I teach when I go into different treatment centers and do holistic recovery there. And it also mirrors the chapters of the full length, you know, book that I'm working on, like self-help book. So if you go to holisticrecovery.com, if you want to put in your email, if you want to be on our list, we're not bombarding people with a whole bunch of information right now. So, you know, feel free that you're safe from cluttering up your inbox right now. It's just, if you just go there, give us your email and you can get that. But it pretty much covers what holistic recovery is, why is that relevant to us, so like the 3 main keys of holistic recovery, which we see as the top key, I see as a social support community, because that's shown to be so powerful, and that's like a strength that we can, a power greater than myself that I can leverage by plugging into, that is like the most bang for the buck I've found. So the first key is social support communities. Second key is specialized services. We found in the research that people who kind of keep their foot in the door of some sort of specialized service for at least a year after like getting out of treatment, say, the outcomes, the success outcome percentages go way up. and they hit that, that 1 years where mental health professionals, we call it sustained remission from the substance use disorder, as opposed to early remission.
Yeah.
So that second key, so the first key was support community. Second key is specialized services. And then the third key would be these integrative practices, which I touched on earlier, that fall into those, biopsychosocial, spiritual, mind, body, soul, heart
Yeah.
arenas. Yeah.
Yeah. And when we talk about specialized services, Marty, are we talking about, in the counseling realm, when we talk about a specialized services, that's called a referral to us, right?
Yeah.
We're going outside of maybe our scope of what we call our scope of practice, and now we are referring a client or a person or ourselves over to a person that is specialized in the type of treatment that might benefit from us as a whole.
Yeah.
That it's all inclusive together. So is that what the kind of the way that is looked at holistic recovery?
Yeah. I consider specialized services to be specialized for people with professional things that are specialized for this genre, people with substance use disorder and related, commonly related mental health challenges. So those are things. A la carte can be things like, psychiatry and medical intervention. It can be psychotherapy or counseling. Can be case management, coaching, psychoeducation, which is just pretty much what I do. Sober living environment can qualify in there too. It's a professional, it's like it's a niche thing for our population. It's one more kind of professional service that can help people. So that's kind of what I mean. And then, generally, all of those a la carte specialized services, if someone goes to treatment, for instance, that's like residential treatment, well, they might be getting a smorgasbord of all of them.
Right. Yeah.
Treatment tends to be this like integrative thing with all the different specialties, like you're saying, specializations,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely where you and I, you and I guess you and I both work still, or I'm not sure if I still work there, but, but when we look at the treatment realm, we're trying to treat so many different types of things coming in that are substance use related, and little nuances about them, and maybe a co-occurring disorder. And so when we bring people into treatment, we will often have such a variety of different groups that, maybe 85% of the groups are really going to fit for that one person. And then the other, 15% are going to be not as fitting, but they can still gain something from that. Or it even might be a specialty break-off group where, at our center, we would have counselors assign group members to specific groups, maybe a trauma group if they really had a lot of trauma or something like that, where it would be a safe environment for them to share and to open up. And they have a trained person that can also open up that can of worms and make sure that the lid goes back on in a safe manner before they exit their treatment. If they stay for the whole treatment episode. So.
Yeah, and you make that's a great point. Is that it's like one of the things that I believe, and it's kind of a holistic recovery stance, is that is in our kind of like biopsychosocial individuality, right? It's like each of our recovery is our own, that has it's going to be unique to our own needs.
Yeah.
And so I like that thing. It's like not all of us are going to go to rehab and get this kind of, some of us are going to customize what kind of professional services we want in our day-to-day life, what kind of support group, nonprofit organizations sort of support we want to do, what kind of like, practices that we want to do, and so it's kind of a unique journey for each of us.
And that's really good to point out too, because along with that is exactly where that individualized treatment plan comes into place. We can have a treatment plan that's going to fit everybody that walks through the door. The treatment plan is basically going to say this: you're going to go to these groups, you're going to have this many hours of groups, and you're going to do these assignments that everybody gets when they come into the treatment center. But when we take the case management part, and now we're taking the individualized portion of that and turning it into a treatment plan that is going to fit that one individual for their more specific needs.
Yes.
Now we're really starting to treat the person. And I've worked at places where it's like cookie cutter, treatment plans where they're like, well, we're just going to put a treatment plan out for everybody. And then hopefully our staff is going to pick up on the excess things that they're going to need as far as outside treatment and things like that. So, when we look at the whole picture, we have to have that individualized service in the treatment plans for people. So
Yeah, absolutely. And so professionals can be a helpful starting point for that. So I'm kind of speaking to people who are not in treatment right now or are not going to treatment.
right.
Just something that we can all use. It's like, if you have a point person, like a caseworker, like a case manager, or a counselor, therapist, that can, that can be kind of your go-to home base to help you like map out and plan and link up with the other services or the other pieces of your recovery that are important to your individual needs. That can be really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And it's so important for people to understand that, when you go into treatment, it doesn't have to be this thing that everybody is receiving. We're not treating cattle here. We're not pushing them through the gates and branding them. We have to take an individualized approach. And so if you're ever having to go into a treatment center, be sure to ask them about an individualized treatment plan. If they're not using that terminology, man, you've got to like talk to them about it and say, hey, what are you doing for me individually? How are you helping my individual needs? But at the same time, we have to be honest about that too. And so that's kind of a sticky situation because sometimes it's hard for people to be honest initially about their problem because they might be in a state of denial or, they have trust issues. And so they don't feel like opening up to people. So what are some good ways that you've been able to help people kind of open up and to kind of break through that barrier when they first come into your office or maybe the first few sessions to help kind of build that therapeutic alliance with them, Marty?
Yeah, well, I really think the answer for the question really you pretty much answered it already. One of the first things I like to do is really get with the person to see what it is that they want. Like what are the problems they want help with, and what do they see as being helpful to work on to help them with that problem. And so then I feel like the best way to connect with someone and is when it's like what they're working on is meaningful to them and driven by them. I know that's not the only way to recover. Sometimes we can also help people who don't want any help. I mean, it's possible, but so I really like to glean onto and really understand like what is this person's unique need and unique direction they want to go in, and that'll take care of a lot of the process, and we can shape it around that. And like the thing is with like holistic recovery, there's so many different tools that are shown to be helpful. So whatever thing you need help with is in direction you want to go, there's some tools for that and there's some resources for that. So that's the real hopeful thing. It's like we can have our own customized journey, and there's things to support that. I'm basically saying like we live in a really good time right now, where like the research on things that are helpful for mental health and recovery, there's just so much there right now when it might have been a little more sparse back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. the sparseness is definitely flourishing now. Ashley, what do you think about all this?
I love research, so I'm the wrong person to ask unless you want to have a in-depth conversation about research. I'm a nerd like that, but there's a lot of great stuff coming out. I mean, I was looking today and this is just in general, like, service and the benefits of giving back. And, the recovery community has been, utilizing service forever, but they didn't really know why it helped people stay in recovery. They didn't know why it helped to sustain and your chances of, staying in recovery for longer based on your service. Like, the research is coming out now, and now it's making sense. I mean, the parallel pathways where you can develop a new habit to, for an old habit, and then strengthen that new habit over time. So even though your brain might not get rid of the old habit, you're able to create a new one and strengthen it over time and become stronger. The neuroplasticity, I mean, the effects of trauma. There's just so much that we've learned recently that's so helpful, because, if you can't do anything, you can't provide treatments if you don't know what causes some of these things or what the ramifications are. And so I think it's a great time.
I love that the point you made, Ashley, of the some of these old school recovery wisdoms that have been passed along, that like science has now come along and started to validate. Like that feels like such a big win. That's one of the reasons I like really dig positive psychology and the science of happiness. It's like, oh, now we've tested in a lab what it's like for people to write a gratitude list every day for weeks and see the lasting effect in their lives. Now we've tested in a lab. It's like how being contributing and doing one nice thing for someone every day, how that increases your joy and happiness in life. So it's like it feels really affirming and validating and like a big win that like now there's kind of like the science backing up a lot of these wisdoms that have been passed down for a while.
Yeah, the gratitude one's great. The more you look for positive things, the more you see positive things. I love that one. And then there's also, like I saw this week, there's new research that came out, written all by people with lived experience, about the benefits of peer leadership. And the study was done entirely with people with lived experience, and I thought it was like the coolest thing.
I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that, Ashley. So
I'm a nerd. I'm a study nerd.
Brett, what do you think of all this, man?
Sorry, my browser crashed for a second, so I disappeared from the stream, so I missed that entire thing. I feel like you're trying to throw me under the bus because I disappeared.
Oh, I'm so sorry. No, I thought you caught it. I'm sorry, man.
I did
but
not.
Really, but why don't you tell us what you think? I'm kidding. Yeah. So we
that's what I think.
And I want to do a shout out. I don't mind because a peer sent me the study about positive, leadership with peers, and I was like, somebody that works in the field as a peer, not a certified peer. So it's like, I was excited. So who you are, the person that sent it to me.
Okay.
You're a rock star.
Nice. Marty, what do you think about? Have you taught or thought much about the recovery coaching and how that can play a role in the treatment process for somebody?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like one of the diversity of specialized professional services out there, and sure, I can help people. Like if there's someone who can show us the ropes and hold our hands and bring people to show what it's like to engage in meetings and recovery services or whatnot. Coaches can play an important role.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I don't know, have recovery coaches been around for a long time? Because to me, it seems like they're just now gaining more popularity, or maybe I was just so new to the industry that I didn't really pay a lot of attention to it. If somebody mentioned they were a recovery coach, but oh, and the other one now that is picking up a lot of steam is the peer support specialist too. Becoming a peer support specialist, and
oh yeah, that's through the well, at least in California, that's like through CCAP or something like that.
yeah,
Is that
through
right?
CF. And
Yeah.
Ashley, do you guys? Why I know it's national because JR is a peer support specialist, I believe, right?
All right. So there's every state has their own distinction. Well, not all the states even have certified peers, so we can start there. But each state has their own certification way. Like Florida, they're called certified recovery peer specialists. And so in other states, they're support specialists. There's a national certification that you can be nationally certified. You have to have, I think, 1,000 hours, and then there's educational experience. But each state has different guidelines on what you have to do to become a peer, who certifies you, the educational requirements. So it's a hard one to talk about, but it's very important.
Yeah. And so important because that peer support specialist they are people that go into a treatment center and act as mentors. Is that right? I mean, that's kind of my understanding of it.
They're used as supports in all areas. So it can be housing supports. It's somebody that's been there. They should, be able to represent the population that they're helping, looks wise, background wise, because it's comforting somebody that's been in that situation and that knows the ropes and that's, recovered, or that can link you with services. They use, peers are utilized in jails. They're utilized veteran services. They use them at all the federally accredited, or, I'm not sure the thing, but all the federal hospitals use peer support. But think about, so this is my vision, like not my vision, but it's just how I would vision it, with all the 988 stuff that's coming out, and is if, say somebody was being arrested and they had, done something, we'll use substance use disorder. They were high on a substance. Say there was somebody on the police force that looked like them and said, "It's okay. I understand you're having a hard time. I've been there before. Everything's going to be okay. They're not going to hurt you." And say things got escalated, they'd be able to talk to the officers and say, "They're doing this because, they're having a panic attack. They're doing this because they were taught, the police officers are out to get them," or, whatever the situation may be. And not that those are necessarily like the true situations. It's just, the situation in that moment and in that person's mind. But just imagine like the power that it protects the police officers. It protects the people that are, not able to communicate effectively in that moment. And then maybe even the person sits with them in the back of the car as they ride to the hospital or to a receiving center or to jail or whatever the case may be. But just having someone that's there with you in that scary moment is so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. So important too. And such a needed thing. JR is giving us a lot of information down there. JR, thank you very much for that. And, again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us tonight and participating in all the comments. We really, really appreciate it. Our YouTube channel is growing. And Brett, do you want to throw up our support YouTube channel graphic?
I didn't know
What are we calling it?
with this. I'm like, which
Yeah,
am I
just
throwing up?
there we go. So if you are on our YouTube page, please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just click on the subscribe button, and you can also click on the bell. That way you will get notified anytime that we upload any new videos and new shows. In case you are not able to make the live show, you will still have that notification waiting for you so that you can join in on the conversations. Thank you for that, Brett. And we have a giveaway happening tonight. Yeah, we have a surprise giveaway. Brett, do you have your music and kazoo ready?
I'm always ready, man. I feel like I need to do a couple little test ones because I know my wife is going to be adamant that I get this right.
Yeah, please. Okay.
You gotta warm it up. Is really what I'm.
Yeah, definitely. We don't want to disappoint your lovely wife.
And you don't want to go into a kazoo play, without warming up first.
Yeah, exactly.
So, are we ready for the winner of tonight's sober surprise is Tanya Wagner.
What?
Wah, wah, wah.
She's the one that said she likes to learn too, so I'm glad she's winning.
Congratulations. You are about to win a special prize. We're not going to tell you, but you will be receiving it in the mail. And we already have your mailing address, so don't worry about contacting us. We'll contact you. Just kidding, Tanya. And I'm so happy. She did post about the merchandise that she received from the Drunken Worm podcast. I really appreciate that, Tanya. It was amazing to see JR post that up there. And I'm really hoping that you are enjoying everything. Oh, and Ashley, thank you very much for the live experience leadership in support research. Thank you very much for that link there. And yeah, man. So, Marty, that was so interesting to talk to you. And are we giving the spoiler, or are we not giving that? Because I'll be honest with everybody. I had the graphics ready, and then Marty and I changed a little bit of the graphic, what it says, and I never did change it, and I didn't upload it today when I was at work. So are we holding off on our announcement for the next thingamajiggy? Alrighty. Marty is going to be joining us for a few trial sessions. We're going to see how this segment takes off, but Marty has been gracious enough to agree to coming on once a month, and we're going to be doing a new segment called Ask Doc Marty. And so what this is going to look like for everybody, just so you have an understanding, is we're going to have our audio link set up. We're going to have a scripted question type of phrase that you're going to read, and Marty is going to receive a bunch of the questions ahead of time, and then he's going to pick the ones that he wants to answer, and then he'll be able to come on to a segment that will be pre-recorded by he and I, and then we're going to play the segment once a month live on the stream. So again, the segment is going to be called Ask Doc Marty, and it will be with Dr. Marty Lajoie in person now, and he'll be able to ask or answer some of your questions about recovery. And I want to make this clear to everybody that we're not getting into a therapy session. He's going to be doing kind of generalized answers. Is that right, Marty? How you're going to be answering them?
Yeah, correct. I will not be treating you directly.
Right, because there's a lot of legality
Disclaimer.
that we put into. So Marty, we're going to be doing a disclaimer at the beginning of each of the segments saying that this is not a therapy session. You're not being treated by Doc Marty. He is going to try to answer some questions in a general manner and maybe give you some direction on where you could go for resources, because we're going to be hopefully giving people some ideas for maybe a referral source or a direction or path to go if they have some stuff that they're struggling with. So we'll be giving you more information on that as it unfolds over the next couple of weeks to a month, and then hopefully in a month we will have our ready to do the segment for Ask Doc Marty. So we hope that everybody can help out, and like I said, if you guys have questions, please feel free to reach out on that segment, and then we'll be notifying you guys when the segment is going to air. And I'm hoping it's going to be a good resource and be a lot of fun for people to, to be able to be more interactive with the show and everything. So.
Good. Interaction's connection. And connection
That's right.
is what?
Connection.
What is connection?
Connection is the soul to our purpose, Ashley.
That's not what I was looking for.
Brett,
you gonna have my back here, or am I alone?
The opposite of recovery? or addiction. The opposite of addiction. I messed that one up.
There you go. Connection's
Wait, what?
opposite of addiction.
Oh yeah, because addiction is isolation, self-cunning, and baffling. Thank you, Brett.
Hide and shame, and connection is when you reach out.
Right, Brett. Can I get a yum?
Yes, you can.
Yum.
So Brett and I on my last two weeks ago when I was driving down to Monterey, he and I spent like 45 minutes on the phone, and he was playing samples to me, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so great, we should put that on the show.
Yeah, that's pretty much the best sample ever that you just played for us.
Yum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's gonna go through my head all night long, and I will not mind at all.
Yes. Marty, since you have a musical background,
do not put me on the spot to sing something.
No, I'm not gonna put you on the spot. Marty, I would never do that to you. Because I have the videos of you singing at work. So
really, I
need to like spot. You would just release the videos. Don't worry.
Yes. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. Don't worry. You and the other lovely lady that was singing with you out in the picnic bench. It was like my third day, and they break out into show tunes. It was fantastic.
Oh, what were we singing?
It was some Disney song, because knowing her, she's like a Disney freak.
Yeah, probably maybe A Whole New World, or I don't know.
A Whole New World. It was something fantastic like that. But okay, Marty, the yum that Brett played again.
Yum.
What is that from?
No clue.
Come on, Marty.
No clue.
Play it again.
Come on. How about
maybe
the group?
Maybe it'll get it going. Play it again.
Come on. Yeah, no clue.
I want my baby back, baby back, baby
back. Oh
no! That's not the same commercial.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. That's Red
Robin.
Oh,
wait, what? That's...
You got the wrong commercial there, sir.
My bad.
Yeah.
Wrong franchise.
See, it was a trick. I was trying to throw Marty into giving the wrong answer. Okay. Oh my gosh. You had one job.
He's your back, but he's trying to trick you into the wrong answer.
Yeah, right.
Hey, blame does not help recovery. No finger pointing.
No finger pointing.
And now I just came up with a new idea for a new segment for the show that we'll talk about offline and see what you guys think about it.
All right.
I love these offline conversations.
Yes. Ashley, we're so sorry to interrupt your conference that was happening at 10 o'clock at night when we called you earlier.
It was at like 7. And you should know I have meetings like every day until.
I know.
Every day.
You're so important, Ashley.
I'm not important, but I have a lot of meetings.
You are real. I think you're more important than you realize. Like, I'm being serious. Like, you're all the hats that you hold. Like, it's amazing.
I know. Got those hats. It's annoying. Why can't you just show up to each place as the same person without a different title and a different hat and a different outfit? You got to show up for one dressed up. For another one, you can wear whatever. The other one, you can turn your camera off because it's acceptable. Another one, it's not acceptable to have your camera off. Like, you have to remember the different rules. I'm over that.
Yes. So are we. We're
Good.
over it, Ashley.
Good. Let's all be over it.
We're going to fight for you.
Change it.
So Marty, tell us what do you do for fun now, man? What is life like for Dr. Marty Lajoie?
I love getting into creative projects. I love nerding out on things, and it could be anything. I'll just suddenly catch the bug, and I'll be like, "Oh, I'm going to do this project." Like the book I was talking about was like that recently. I was like, "Oh, I have to write a book. Okay, well now let me just learn everything there is to about writing a book, and I'll take classes, and you know what I mean, like have a big old whiteboard, and it's like do all the mind mapping, Right. So that's one thing I like to do is just following the creative impulse and seeing what rabbit hole that takes me down. Sometimes they turn into some pretty cool things, and sometimes they didn't. But either way, it's fun. On kind of like the regular, I love watching movies, shows. I love playing, hanging out with my fiance and soon to be baby mama, and
Hey.
and playing with our dogs who are a riot. I love getting together with people in recovery, like especially my closer support circle. We just have, it's a gas. We have a lot of fun. We have, dirty, filthy, whorish mouths that we just like our comedy is off the hook, and I like hiking, getting out, going out to dinner, doing stuff like that.
That's awesome, man. So it sounds like it's that kind of like well-rounded dream that we all try to like keep our balance and try to, keep that, you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, that's been a huge thing lately, is just really appreciating and holding it down for the balance in life.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're here for a limited time. How do I want to really use my time?
Right.
So you know, connecting with people, connecting with the love in my life, um, is really, I've just noticed that I've made a lot more space for that in my life lately, and it's one of those many gifts of recovery, but that's probably the most meaningful one.
Yeah. And one of the things that just popped into my head, and I don't know if this is a saying, if I've heard it somewhere, but I want to say it now, is you have to live in the gratitude and not the attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Maybe I should make a t-shirt with that.
Do it, Carl.
Where's Broken Chains apparel? No, wait, I have my own apparel. I don't need Broken Chains. Ashley,
Yep.
there we go. Our design contest. Yes. Thank you, Brett. So if you guys are interested in doing a design contest with Broken Chains apparel, there is still time to get your submissions in. If you feel like you have a good sobriety saying, or if you are an artist and you would like to express your artistic sobriety side, please go to the Broken Chains apparel website, and they have all the information there where you can submit your drawings. And we're going to be doing a reveal of the artwork and the drawings on the show at some point. Is there a time limit for this, or did they set like an end date?
I think he said they were going to do it a month, and actually right this second, the link for the contest is not working. David and I are working to resolve that issue.
Okay.
The plan that we were using was the free trial plan, and
the trial is expired.
Correct. So hopefully after this
Google
live stream,
Forms. Let's do some Google Forms. You can put the artwork right on there.
After the live stream is over, hopefully he and I will get that resolved.
Yeah, I love it.
He was messaging me, and I was like, I'm at work right now. Sorry, man, I can't help, but we can figure it out tonight. So hopefully we get that back up and running. But it is pinned to the top of the Facebook page, so it's easy to find if anybody is interested in that. Yeah. Hopefully in the next couple hours we'll have it back up and running.
Yes. Okay. And JR, I love your idea as our tagline: live in the gratitude and not the attitude.
That sounds pretty bougie. It sounds like a
wow.
Yeah, it sounds like you. I have an attitude. Yeah. So I can't claim that one.
It definitely fits for Carl. That's your tagline. If we could just have it be over your head wherever you're walking down the street with some soundtrack playing to it.
Can we just have glitter guns going off behind me?
Absolutely.
I think that would be fabulous.
You deserve glitter guns, Mr.
Yes,
Carl.
I do. And I think that our friend Carter should also have glitter.
But we're not going to have them because we don't have cake yet. And I've put that request in with management a long time ago. So
no, I think that was the request for seafood. Where is our friend today? Our seafood friend, is he on?
I haven't seen him in the chat
ever since we changed our days. did we lose a viewer?
Are you talking about? He was here a week or two ago, I think.
Was he? Oh, I'm still waiting for my seafood.
I'm not sure what your boyfriend is saying there in the comments. I don't know what.
Someday Brett will get.
Yes.
Instead of one job, no.
Yeah.
It's always one job. You can have
always
50,000 jobs, and JR is going to tell you had one job.
Yeah. One job in the moment. Yes.
One job with 50 million sub jobs.
Right, exactly. And we just need to be tuned in to know which job JR is referring to.
Hey, don't jobs come with paychecks? I'm still waiting on that, JR.
Right.
Yeah, JR, we're waiting on our paychecks, buddy.
No, this is a volunteer job.
Brett, you have one job, is to get us on his payroll. Brett, you know people, right?
JR, I am donating my paycheck back to Recovery Revolution. So you have it on video and on recording. The donation is, I do accept tax receipts though for my taxes.
Yes.
Just kidding.
And I want to thank Ashley and everybody, JR and everybody who has donated to the fundraiser I'm doing for my podcast. Really appreciate the support, guys. It's going to a good cause. So if you're interested in finding out more about that, you can listen to my last show. I mentioned it. I don't really want to sell it here, but I wanted to make that for JR and Ashley because they're here and they've supported it so far. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't give you glitter gun, but you can't say I'm not supportive.
Oh no, I'll take support all day long. Glitter guns. I can buy glitter guns. I want one of those money guns.
They don't exist.
$20 bills, y'all. So
I've never
Marty,
been to strip clubs, so I can't talk. I don't know about money guns.
Marty, are we going to be bringing washing back?
Oh,
it's hygiene. It's hygiene.
Oh, we're bringing hygiene back.
Yeah, I made this video, this spoof on Justin Timberlake's. It was for a work thing, but
dude,
it's up there. I think it's up there. I think if you YouTube holistic recovery hygiene back,
Brett,
you'll see. Yeah,
Brett,
I'm already
please. Marty, do we have your permission to show it if he finds it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh,
that's
yes. Fine. I love this job.
I think holistic recovery, I think, is the YouTube channel. I think that's the only thing on it. And it would probably be called Hygiene Back. But essentially,
in self-care.
And
you're wearing a fedora.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm wearing a fedora.
That's
it.
Brett, make it happen.
All right, you have permission. I was doing it for National Hand Washing Week during the pandemic. I did it for that.
It's cute. Wait, can I say that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Cute's positive, right?
Yeah, cute is positive.
Yeah. Just don't say anything negative. I'm good with it. Whatever it is.
We're gonna mute all the comments now. Yeah. Brett, you have one job.
You had one job.
Are you there?
Yeah, dead air is not good. It's not good. We need to do
something. there was this one time at band camp.
Sorry, I had the thing playing from the Facebook. I didn't mean to interrupt, but it was playing, and so I couldn't get it to stop, and I had to keep staying on mute because otherwise you would hear us talking and talk echoing. So I was
JR did that. JR did that to me at the beginning of my third episode, and yeah, it was really weird.
What did he do? He muted you?
No, he had a video or something playing as I was starting the intro music to the live stream. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what the heck is going on? I thought it was playing the wrong music or something like that. And so I muted everything. And yeah, JR, you have one job, buddy.
JR's got a bunch of jobs too. He's got a lot. So he's probably doing me, multitasking, answering emails and checking stuff while he was trying to be interviewed because he was making time for you.
No, it wasn't even on there. It was a live show, and he was just here as I think you weren't able to be there one day, or maybe it was all 5 of us or 4 of us. Marty, tell us a joke, Marty.
I don't really have many. There's like how many narcissists take to change a light bulb? One, to hold the light bulb in place while the world revolves around him. I don't know how many drug
video ready.
All right,
Oh,
let's
okay,
do
good.
it. Let's
Thank
do it.
goodness.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
I'm bringing hygiene back. Yeah. Thoroughly washing is the way to act. Yeah. Just 20 seconds helps, and that's a fact. Yeah. So use this song as a delightful hack. Take it to the sink. Wash them dirty hands. To save your life, I'm gonna take a stand. It makes it funner when I do a dance. COVID can try, but we got other plans. Take it to the soap. Sud them. Go ahead, put the soap on it. Scrub them. With a 20-second hold on it. Wash them. COVID, no you don't want it. Cough them. So make sure that you don't got it. Sud them. Go ahead, put the soap on it. Scrub them. With a 20-second hold on it. Wash them. COVID, no you don't want it. Cough them. So make sure that you don't got it. Get your hygiene on. 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 Get your hygiene on.
Yeah, I guess I'm glad we watched it because I was thinking completely differently what you're talking about because I was thinking the mental hygiene, the mental health hygiene activities, so like the daily activities to support mental health.
That's gonna be the
So I was like,
yeah,
he was talking about real hygiene, like physical hygiene.
Physical hygiene. Yeah,
that was great. That made me so happy. That took me back to our place, Marty, sitting in my office and watching it for the first time, and I think I actually laughed out loud, and I think I said, "Are you effing kidding me?"
I love doing stuff like that. I hope to do more things. Get to have that spirit when I do videos for holistic recovery. Have it not be so serious, lighthearted, edutainment.
Yes. Yeah, man. Well, great. All right. So we had the giveaway. Tanya, congratulations on the giveaway. And we have had Dr. Marty Lajoie on the show this evening. And Marty, we want to thank you very much for taking the time this evening to join us. I love the new backdrop, man. Is this your new studio in the house?
Yeah, well, actually, I just set this up today just for this. This is a bookshelf, and it's also a secret portal into another dimension, or a Harry Potter lion, witch, and wardrobe sort of thing. It's a Murphy bed, but where the bookcase comes out and then folds off to the side, and then a bed comes.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see this.
Oh my God, we have to see this now, Marty.
Let me see if I can.
Oh, and
show
your
I have a Murphy bed at my
light
house
there.
too, but mine doesn't open.
I want one.
Let's see.
Carl, how's the dresser coming? By the way,
It's
wanted
fabulous.
To build a Murphy bed, and you haven't finished a dresser yet.
Don't judge. Hey, and guess what? I realized that I put
We're watching the Murphy bed.
Oh, okay.
Keep talking.
Marty,
We're listening to you too.
Okay, so I put one of the drawers together backwards, and I have the set holes. Ooh,
that's fancy.
That's bougie right there, Marty.
Right.
Brett, that's even better than your casting couch.
It is.
See, mine looks different. It doesn't have a bookcase. It pulls down. It's wooden at the front, but then you pull it down and it's like a bed.
Oh,
but I don't have the bookshelf.
Marty, are you afraid that stuff's gonna fall off though?
Just gotta be careful with it.
Yeah, I like that, bud.
That's really
cool.
He's not worried about it. because fear's
Yeah.
Don't
bad.
worry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fear bad.
fear is
But
the mind killer.
But Marty and I both live in California, so
The
Oh,
like,
earthquakes. I don't think about that
That's
here.
right.
yeah.
That's
Ooh,
Okay,
you really
and just
living on the edge.
And just so you guys know, when we have earthquakes, it's usually not really a bad earthquake. It's more like a shake for a few seconds. But there are times when we have bad ones, like the one that happened out by you, right, Marty? Wasn't there a big earthquake out in Santa Rosa or something?
I don't remember.
Or
when the
no,
last
that was
time we had one.
Napa, the one that hit Napa,
Yeah, I don't
like about
remember.
5 or 6 years ago. But
I felt like I
yes,
was in an earthquake today when they were drilling. Like, I guess when I live in
Did
a
you go-
condo,
oh
and so they were taking up the tile, and they have to use jackhammers.
yeah,
And literally all day long, it was. Oh, I recorded it because I didn't think anybody would believe me how loud it was. Like, it was so bad. And
oh yeah,
I'm trying to be on meetings and stuff, and it's just loud.
yeah,
So it brought me back to a time I was like, your outside environment really does make you isolate yourself. I had to
yeah.
keep myself on mute. Couldn't talk. Couldn't, trying to have a phone conversation. Couldn't do it. So I'm like, geez, this is a real life lesson about like outside environments and how they can cause you to, isolate and stuff. I don't know. It was just for a day, but I'm normally pretty calm, but that like put me at the edge.
Absolutely.
I'm not really normally calm, but I'm normally not like murderous, and that it brought me to murderous.
Uh-oh. Right.
I have to be honest.
Warning. Ashley can be murderous. Good thing that we don't live in the same state.
It was the first time ever I think I've reached like
That point
homicidal,
of like
yeah.
homicidal intent. But
Yeah.
did you have a plan?
No. It was
Do you
so
have a
bad
plan?
I couldn't even
Do you
plan
have the
it.
means?
Yeah, do you
I couldn't get
Exactly.
anything done. I couldn't all it was just like if I meet that person, they're dying is all I could think of all day long. But I didn't seek them out to find out who they were.
Yes, JR, thank you for brushing your teeth. Everybody around you is benefiting from this.
Yeah.
And your hygienal hygienal, is that even a word? Your hygienic message.
That's right. Self-care is sexy. Self-care is sexy.
Self-care is sexy.
Yes.
JR, flash those teeth.
I guess my wife wants me to get off the stream because she just started vacuuming.
Oh, good. Well, we can't hear it. That's okay.
That's good.
I actually am like really hungry, so I think I want to bid you guys a good night.
All right. Well, I think we're going to close it out anyways, Marty.
Yeah.
So, Brett, you want to close us out, man?
Sure. Let's
All
close
right,
it out,
buddy.
man. Let me pull up my fancy slides so I know what I'm talking about.
Please.
Like Carl, I can hear the vacuum in my microphone now, so I'm going to try to get closer so you guys don't hear it because I guess she's done with me, I guess. Like Carl mentioned a few minutes ago, Broken Chains Apparel is doing a t-shirt design contest. If you are interested in entering or voting on the different designs, the post is pinned at the very top of the Recovery Revolution Facebook page, so it's super easy to find. If you guys would like to leave us a voice message for the show, you can use this link right here, speak-to-us/RRL, to leave us a short voice message. Carl also mentioned it. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and be sure to turn on your notifications so you know when we go live. Or if you can't join us live, you can still catch that video after it airs. I think that is all of the announcements. Carl, remember to, what was it? Live in an attitude of gratitude? No.
Oh, yeah. Live in gratitude and not your attitude.
That's right. Do that. And my catchphrase is progress, not perfection. Have a good night, everyone.
Mine's going to be recovery is possible and recover out loud.
Yes, she stopped. Chrissy, you may continue. You may continue vacuuming. We do not hold it against you.
Good night, everyone.
All right, everybody have a good night.